Right, so in today's video, I'm going to be explaining the plan that I've got for this lawn, and I'm going to be talking you through exactly everything that's going to be happening to it over the next few weeks. So I just want to start off by thanking everyone who actually commented on the last video that I did on this lawn. If you haven't seen it, I posted it a couple of weeks back, and I was basically just asking people for advice as to what they would do if they were in a similar position to me. What would they do in terms of the grass species, what would they do in terms of drainage, that sort of thing. And all the comments were really useful. So the decision I've come to is we're going to be getting rid of the ryegrass. Now that's only going to be the case on this lawn. If you've seen any of my previous videos, you'll know that I've got 2 ryegrass lawns out at the front, and they're doing amazing at the moment. You know, they've really thrived over the past few weeks, and they managed to stay relatively healthy over the winter with very little dieback. I mean, they're both looking better now than they did this time last year. So whatever it did to them last year clearly had a bit of a decent impact on them. However, this lawn at the bottom has fared really poorly, and the one up at the top as well. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this lawn that I'm sat in front of now to a fescue lawn, and I'm going to keep the top tier lawn as a ryegrass lawn. Now the reason why I'm going to be doing it that way is someone posted a comment, I forget who it was now, so sorry that I forgot your name, but they said, why don't we keep the top one as a ryegrass and this one as like fescue or something different, and compare the two this year, and then that can almost inform what I can be doing then long term moving forward. Maybe I change the top lawn to be a fescue lawn. Maybe I'm not a fan of fescue down here and I revert back to the ryegrass. We'll see, but I guess I'm not really going to know unless I actually try, take the plunge and make that change. So over the next few weeks, I'm going to be killing this lawn off, possibly using Roundup. I've used it a few times now, so I know what I'm going to be doing with that, to kill off all this lawn, and then hopefully by around about mid-April we'll be able to reseed it with a fescue mix. So I found a mix that is just purely fescue. There's 4 different types, but there's 2 main types, if you get what I mean. So there's 2 creeping variants of fescue, and there's 2 chewing variants as well. So hopefully it's going to give us quite a thick sward, quite a, you know, a tightly packed one. I'm going to go with that mix, and I'm going to see what sort of difference it does make to this lawn. So whether you've got a fescue lawn now and you want to see what sort of things you can do to yours as I sort of learn on the go with mine, or if you've got a ryegrass lawn, I know lots of people have commented to say they're sticking with the Premiership Pro mix, even though their lawns are in a similar condition to mine, and they want to know what it might be like possibly with a fescue lawn and see that difference. You'll be able to see that this year, and then hopefully maybe next year you can make more of an informed decision as to what lawn you think is best. And another thing that I'm going to be changing is the actual drainage of this lawn. Now I have toed and froed with this idea for the past few weeks, past couple of months in fact, since we had all that awful rain over the winter, and I've really considered, do I actually improve the drainage? Do I put something in place to help? Or do I just leave it and hope for the best? Because I've lived at this house now for about 4 years. I've had this lawn for about 2 years, but prior to this, I had just a very clay heavy lawn. I didn't have the topsoil that I have down now. And for the most part, the drainage has been absolutely fine. It's only been this year where I've seen the damage and impact on the top lawn up there, and actually the damage to this one, thinking, you know, the rain's sort of done its thing and really had a massive detrimental impact. I mean, this space now round here has recovered quite well, and the sward has started to thicken up a little bit. It's had no spring summer fertiliser, so it's not had anything with high nitrogen in to promote that growth, but you can still clearly see there's a lot of places where the drainage is poor. Now it did dry up not long back, and we've had a lot of rain this week, and it's absolutely sodden again. So this is a bit of a problem. You know, we've got a lot more rain to come, and I think in the coming years, if I don't do anything about it, I'm going to end up in the same position as I'm in now. So I am going to be hollow core aerating this soil, and I'll be top dressing with sand, well, a 70-30 top dressing mix, which 70% of that ends up being sand, and that is going to improve the drainage. However, a few people have suggested in the comments that I actually add some drainage all the way across this lawn to help take that moisture away from the soil and down into the French drain at the front. So if you don't know where these stones are here running along the front, I installed the French drain in February last year, so it goes all the way down here, all around the perimeter of the lawn bordering. and it goes down to a grid on the far end, or a drain effectively on the far end. But when you run water down into these stones, when it does flow into these stones, the French drain takes it down to that drain, it fills up, and it takes it away. So this garden actually has a decent drainage system in place. It's just not connected to this soil now. And this wooden border is a bit of a barrier. So even though there's a French drain below here, the issue is we've got a load of clay just below where this piece of the lawn bordering is, and the water can't really penetrate down, which is obviously a massive issue. So the plan, what I'm going to do is, I've just ordered some drainage pipe today from B&Q. I'm going to cut channels into this lawn. So the way I'm visualising it now, I mean, this could be subject to change. It's not exactly what's going to happen, but it's how I see it in my head at the moment, is I'm going to create 4 channels along the lawn. So I'm going to dig a massive trench here. I'll do another one about here, another one about here, another one further down as well. And what I'll do is I'll dig them really deep. And we're also going to go with stones, a drainage pipe, more stones, wrap it in fabric, and then put the soil again on top. So then what that'll mean is the water can, obviously it'll soak down into the soil and down to that clay layer, but it's going to be able to run off into those spaces, those voids where the French drains are, and they'll run down to the front into the French drain that's here, and they'll be taken away down to the drain on that far side of the garden. Now, if we have a really heavy rainfall, the soil's still going to get moist, you know, it's still going to get a little bit wet, but at least that moisture has somewhere to go, because currently where I'm standing now, this moisture has absolutely nowhere to go. Again, there's a French drain over here, but because of the lawn edge in here and the fact that the garden slopes downwards ever so slightly, it's not doing anything to actually you know, improve the drainage in the garden. I have seen a few videos where people install drains like this, and what they do is they dig the trench, they fill it with like stones and a pipe and more stones, and they leave around about 2 inches on top to put the soil back over. I'm not going to be doing that. I know I'm stood now on around about 6 to 8 inches of topsoil before you even hit the clay. What I'm hoping, or what the aim is going to be, is to have 6 to 8 inches of topsoil before you even hit those stones, because if you leave the soil too shallow above the French drain, what's going to happen in the summer is when all the soil dries up and you're trying to get on and water your lawn as much as you can, if you only got 2 inches of soil, that soil's going to dry out really quick. Even if you water it till the cows come home, it's going to really dry out. And then what will end up happening is I'll end up having like racing stripes across the lawn where the grass is going to die. So I'm not going for that. I'm going to have it really thick. Now that will mean the water's going to drain more slowly through the soil. So it might end up quite wet at times whilst it's still draining out. But actually, if you think about late spring and into the summer and even into the autumn as well, you want the soil to retain some of that moisture. If you have too thin of a layer of topsoil, it's not going to hold on to the nutrients, it's not going to hold on to the water, and the grass is going to suffer. So then I'll have a really nice lawn through winter, nice to an extent, but then when it gets to the months where it really matters, it's going to struggle. So putting the French drains that little bit deeper is going to help. Now, it is a big job. There's a lot that's going to have to take place. Even though the lawn's not that big, digging out 4 trenches along here is going to be a hell of a lot of digging in terms of pulling up the soil, pulling up the clay. I want to preserve as much of the soil as I can, because I don't have to buy tons and tons more soil. But I'm going to be getting a skip to get rid of a lot of the clay, because if anyone's not sure about how a French drain works, it's not just the pipe. It's not the fact that it flows into a pipe. It's about creating voids. The only reason you put a perforated pipe there is so the water can flow into it, but it creates a really big void that the water can then flow into. Now, a bit of a disclaimer, when I do that project, it's not going to be expert, being a drainage fella for 25 years and know all the tricks of the trade kind of video. It's going to be, if you're new to this, or you've only done a little bit of DIY, or you've never installed a drain before, or a French drain, it's going to be something you can follow along with. It's not going to be complicated. I'm not going to use any mad tools and things like that. Only stuff you can really pick up from the likes of B&Q, Screwfix, Toolstation, Amazon, that sort of thing, and for a relatively inexpensive price as well. I'm open to spend not too much on making this happen. So yeah, that's the plan for the drainage. I'm still going to be getting on with the sand. I'm still going to be doing the hollow core aerating once the pipes are in place, and I'll have more sand in this, and I'll be making sure that there's plenty of sand content in the soil above where the drains are so that the water can more easily flow through, but not too much, because like I said, I want to keep the grass healthy first. And I don't think you can hear this on the mic, but as I'm walking around here and standing about, it's just squelching and stodging. So yeah, definitely needs a drainage fix. So there's the plan then for this lawn. We're changing from it being a ryegrass lawn to it being a fescue lawn, so that's a massive change, and we're going to be improving the drainage. Like I said earlier, something I was a little bit hesitant to do a few months back, but something that I've decided is absolutely necessary. When we had that rain the week just gone and it became sodden again like it is now, it just makes you realise it absolutely needs to be put in place, because otherwise it's going to be a losing battle moving forward. And if you have another winter like we've had this year, which is likely to happen again, where we have little frost but a lot of rain, the lawn's going to, you know, inevitably find it tough and it's going to struggle. So if you'd like to stick around and check out these videos and follow along with the progress of this lawn, whether your lawn is in the most immaculate state at the moment, or if it's really struggling like this one is, either it's going to be helpful and you can follow along and do the similar things yourself at home if you want to, or you can just follow along for the entertainment factor, just to see actually how this lawn goes from the state it's in today to being one that looks pretty decent, which I'm very confident within 2 months this will definitely be. Then feel free to subscribe. If you enjoyed it, feel free to give it a like. So finally, thanks for watching.